I just got laid off from my job this morning. Let's talk about it. Hey, I'm Aisha. Welcome back to Monsoon season. Today is a very raw day. I want to just take it a step back for a second. A few days ago, my manager put a meeting on my calendar, and then yesterday moved it to like a 9:30 slot. And as soon as I saw that meeting on my calendar, I immediately knew I was getting laid off. And there was no reason. I have been performing well at work, and things at work have been very, very smooth sailing. And I just knew in my intuition, in my bones, in my cells, that I was getting laid off. I felt this visceral feeling of like my stomach just flipping as soon as I saw that calendar invite. And I really tried to grapple with why I was feeling anxious. And I told myself maybe it's because I have had so many toxic managers in my past, in my career, that anytime I see a one-on-one kind of randomly put on the calendar, I immediately start panicking. But I could not rationalize why I was feeling this so strongly, to the point where I told my husband last night, hey, I have this meeting on the calendar and I'm really, really, really scared and anxious about it. And he very lovingly told me it was probably just anxiety and just me catastrophizing a situation and letting my imagination run wild to the worst case scenario. But he asked me, he's like, why do you think you're gonna get laid off? Like, where is that coming from? And my answer surprised even myself. I said, the more I step in to my power and the more I pursue my purpose, the more I feel like the universe will remove the things in my way. For a long time now, I, like a lot of people, am holding a full-time job, very, very privileged to be working remotely and have a job in this economy. And it isn't my dream job. My dream job is to work for myself. My dream job is to live in my dharma and like to help as many people as possible. But I like my job. I worked and toiled for 15 years and climbed the ladders and climbed down the ladders to get to where I am. And this job strictly meant stability and financial comfort. It doesn't serve anything other than that. And the more I have this year stepped into coaching, stepped into the light, stepped into my own light, and allowed my light to emanate from me, I have had a harder time working. This morning I woke up and I knew it was going to happen. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I was sweating. I could barely get through a few seconds of focus and meditation. I was pacing around the apartment until 9:29 and hopped on this call. And of course, my boss comes onto the Zoom, and shortly after, the head of HR. And funny enough, it is my boss's 2-year work anniversary. And I know this because during a team call a month ago, they were announcing, whose anniversaries are when, and I, jotted it down on my calendar, and I wanted to make sure that she gets acknowledged and she gets celebrated. And she's also having a baby, and I'm so excited for her, and she's in her last trimester. So yesterday, despite how all I was feeling, all the nerves and all the fear I felt about feeling like my intuition was just telling me this was going to happen, I asked myself, what does my heart want to do? And I got an answer, and that answer was send her flowers. And so I ordered flower delivery for her today, and it just says it actually got delivered an hour ago, to wish her happy anniversary at the company and to wish her well with the baby in the new chapter. But that's just as a side note. And I get on this call, my boss is there, the head of HR is there, and the call is pretty short and sweet. They just mention that this isn't a performance thing. This has nothing to do with me or what I've brought to the team. It's just a matter of business, and this role is no longer really needed at the company. And yeah, they're making some hard decisions, and cutting my role is one of them. And I can sign off and log off of everything, and that was it. And to be honest, I'm a little bit kind of disappointed at the lack of warmth, because I've been through layoffs before. I know how it works. I know the HR isms of a layoff, but what always shocks me and what always kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth is that there's always like an air of coldness in layoffs. And for me, I just always want to leave the room with as much warmth as possible. So even if I'm not getting that from the other side, and they just were very cordial, but I was kind of surprised a little bit that my boss didn't say a little bit more, or it was a little disappointing. But I also know that I empathize with people who have to do that announcement and to have to make that call. And so I understand it doesn't maybe feel natural for people to do that. But I'm really proud of myself. I told them that I was surprised, but deep down I didn't want to say like, oh, I knew this was going to happen, because it was just an intuitive voice. But I said I was surprised, and that I was just so grateful and thankful for the job, and really love the brand and the team, and hope everything goes well. And I just wish them nothing but success. And we wrapped the call from start to finish in 10 minutes. I got off the call, immediately called my husband, and was crying in tears. Not because I was necessarily sad or anything like that. It was more of just this release that I felt, to be honest. And I'm definitely a professional crybaby. I cry all the time. So maybe it just felt good to cry in that moment. But I called him and told him I just got laid off. And he said, it's going to be okay. We're going to figure this out. Everything's going to work out. And I know how privileged I am to be able to say that me losing my job doesn't mean that I'm out on the street. And I know that's not always the case. And yeah, I logged off my work computer, shut her down, and I called my coach, George, and we FaceTimed for a few minutes, and I was crying on that call too, and just telling him, hey, I just got laid off from my job. I have a lot of mixed feelings. I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling afraid, but I'm also feeling relief. I'm feeling like this is divine intervention. I was just feeling so many different things, and I wish I recorded that call, because it was just so raw and so intense, and I wish I documented it just for my journey. But yeah, I wasn't calm on that call. I was just very emotional, and I shared with him that I had that intuition last night that this was happening. And I told him as well that my heart was telling me, the more I step in to my power and my purpose, the more the universe lets all of the distractions fall and crumble. And what I know now to be true is that these things that we put into place to feel safe is just fear that's disguised as scaffolding in our life. And this job is that fear scaffolding, and now it's completely gone. I told him how much I feel like this is happening for me. There's a lot of things swirling in my head, and it's hard to articulate perfectly exactly what I want to say. But I can only speak from my heart. And what my heart is saying is that I got laid off from my job, but I just got hired full time as a CEO of my life. And now I get to build exactly what I want instead of what I think I want, instead of what I think I should want. But what do I actually want? What is the life really asking of me? What are my gifts, and am I really using them to the fullest capacity? And I know so many friends who are going through layoffs. I am running in circles in communities right now where people are getting laid off, and there's just so many people. Like, the economy is insane, and there's so much change happening, and it's not an isolated thing. And I don't want to share my story as a poor me, like I got laid off, but this time feels different. I've been laid off 4 times. This is the 4th time in my career I've been laid off, and it feels different. It feels like every time I've been laid off, the universe has said, hey, trust yourself. I'm moving all these distractions out of the way. Do you have the guts to go for it? And to be completely honest, the first 3 layoffs, I did not have the guts. I did not have the self-belief. I did not have the practices. I did not have meditation. I didn't have the community, the support, the love for myself that I have now. And so this feels vastly different because I'm like, the universe is literally pulling the rug from under me, and the scaffolding is crumbling the fuck down. Do you have the guts to go for it this time? Yes, a part of me really, really wanted to leave the job on my own terms. I gave myself a year. Like a month ago, I told myself, I'm going to leave this job in a year. Give myself a year to build my business, to get all the clients, to have more, like once that is off the ground, and once that is like thriving and has a little bit more momentum, then I'm going to pull the plug on this. But you don't get to fucking decide. You don't get to choose sometimes. Sometimes the universe does it for you. And it hurts and it fucking sucks sometimes, but it's also like, thank you for doing this, because I was so scared I was going to do this for another year. And there's a part of me, maybe it's delusion, but maybe it's the true essence of me that's saying, I'm locked the fuck in now, and now I can get to where I want to go even faster because there's nothing in the way. Part of me wants to say, I never want to apply to a job that I hate ever again. I never want to apply to a safety job ever again. I never want to apply to make a living doing something that doesn't utilize my true gifts and my skills and my purpose again. And I hope wherever you are in the journey, if you are at this fork in the road, or if you are at a different peak or valley, you know that it is happening for you. can you let go of the attachment to what that life meant? I'm so grateful for my spiritual practice, for my meditation, and for the journey I've been on in the last year to transform my inside, because I have no attachment to the title of editorial director. It means nothing. I know that that's an empty thing. I know that, a lot of people do get value from a title. A lot of people do get value from updating their LinkedIn posts, but I just want and believe in my whole heart and in my guts and in my fascia and in my cells and in my bones, in my bone marrow, that I can make a living using my gifts. And it is not going to just be me living comfortably. It will generate the abundance that's already within me. And it will be so successful because I'm fully aligned and fully serving the world in the most loving, the most true, and the most divine way that I was made to serve. I'm scared. I'm really fucking scared. But I'm grateful and so lucky that I get to do this again, that I woke up today, that I have breath and life in my body to try again, to go for my dream. That this in 5 years is just gonna be the moment that everything changed, that everything worked in my favor. This is the reroute that brought all the blessings my way. Because for so long, I've just blocked that road with excuses, with distractions, with work, with so many things. But the path forward is clear. You can make money doing what you want to do. I believe in you. If you have to get a job or you want to get a job to help support that I support that. I believe you. I know you can get where you want to go. I know you can get to where you want to go. All you need to do is show up and have the guts. And everything, and I mean everything, will work in your favor. A couple things that my coach shared that I want to pass along if you're in this season of change. He said, don't make any sudden decisions. I mentioned to him that in the past when I've been laid off, I have defaulted to literally seconds later on LinkedIn, easy apply, let's go, 40 applications today. I will land a fucking interview by next week. Boom, 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 line it up. That's not happening anymore. I have to just give myself the time and the space to first allow what is coming up to come out and to be expressed. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to share this episode so raw and so fully, because it is not going to be transmitted the same tomorrow or a week from now. And I want to remember this moment. This is the beginning. And so he said, don't do anything rash. Don't, feel the need to do something or throw yourself into anything. And he said to practice divine restraint. A part of me as a talker is to tell a lot of people about this. And then people want to give me advice and tell me, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and all of this. And I just want to reclaim my power and say, like, I got laid off and I'm going to treat it like it's not a big deal. It's just permission to go the fuck off and do the things that I've been wanting to do. It is like all the lights are green now. Now fucking go. That's how I'm taking it. Divine restraint. That's how I am translating, is not to gossip about it too much, not to talk about it too much or give it power or weight and let that fester into anything, which is why I want to transmit this into one episode and let it release it, and that's it, and move on from this moment. The other thing he said that was really helpful was, this is your doing. I have been really working on embodiment and pouring into myself, and my intuition has gotten stronger and stronger. And so these weird divine intuitive downloads of like, I'm going to get laid off, and finding that out before it was going to happen is normal when you're really fine tuning your body and your mind and your spirit. And he said, this is your doing. One of the things I shared earlier was I wanted to leave on my own terms. It's the same thing as a breakup, right? You don't want to be the one dumped. You want to be the one who's dumping. They both suck, but one is a little bit more, has a little bit more pride than the other, right? And he said, this is actually your doing. You did this. You have been working towards this, and the universe is just handling that for you. And it's kind of like I brought this into existence. And it's kind of what I was saying to my husband last night, which was like, the more I pursue myself and my dreams, these the balance has to happen. There has to be a release for something new to come in, right? There needs to be the yin and the yang. And I have felt the physics of that, the force of that like, if I'm really going for something now, my life, there has to be something that is released and shed for me to gain something new. And he said, this was your doing. Like, you didn't, like, you think you didn't get laid off, like you didn't do it on your own terms. You got laid off, but you actually, energetically, this is yours. And that is such a power. If you can grasp that, if you can truly believe in your spirit that things are happening for you in that way, that even when someone lays you off, that you made that decision for them energetically, fuck, that is power. That is power. That is truly knowing that things are happening for you, not to you. And I am feeling really hopeful, and I know, because I've been here before, I'm not fully delusional. I know that there are going to be days that come up where shit really gets hard, and I won't remember this feeling and have the warm and fuzzy and the passionate fire every single day. But I know now the seeds are planted, and I know what needs to be done. And I hope that whoever needs this message gets this message. And I just want to say I'm proud of you. I believe in you. You are not a failure. You are everything. And go use your gifts for good. and don't look back. Love you.